Hello and welcome to this video from Power Transformer News. Today we're going to be talking to Erika Wilson of Wilson Power Solutions, and she's joining me now down the line from the UK. Hello, Erika.
Hi there.
Wilson Power Solutions is a family company. So could you maybe tell us about the history of the company and its founding as well?
Yes, my grandfather Richard Wilson founded the company in 1946. At that time, he was actually rewiring cars. And then in the late 60s, my father and my uncle joined the business and they went further into the supply of motors and generators. And it actually wasn't until the late 70s, until they sold the first transformer, and the business took a very different path with transformers and MV switchgear. And then in the early 90s, Power and Distribution Transformers was formed, and we manufactured then new transformers, and things grew rapidly, and obviously here we find ourselves today.
And what are your memories of the company from an early age?
I think my earliest memory would probably be when I was around 9 or 10, and I used to sit in the front office of the business and earn my holiday spending money, riveting bookmarks into diaries for our customers. It was rather boring, actually. Um, the memory of my dad was always arriving home late from work with this familiar smell of transformer oil. At that time, that's my earliest memory, I'd say.
And so what inspired you to follow in your father's footsteps in this business?
Well, unsurprisingly, at the age of 9, I wasn't really inspired to join. But it wasn't until I was doing my A-levels when I developed a real desire to join the family business. And actually, by that time, my older sister had decided that the business wasn't really for her. She's clearly different from me, which is seen actually by her running her own business, designing and manufacturing greetings cards, which is totally different to what I do and really too creative and artistic for me, I would say.
And so your family in general is quite business minded then?
Yes, we are. Yeah, fortunately, looking at my father, I've sort of aspired, I guess, to be as he is, which is, yeah, that's how I am, yeah.
So you said that you started to get an interest during your A levels, which for those who don't know is around 16 to 18 years old.
Yes.
And so what did you do from the moment of gaining this inspiration to continue working with this in the company to prepare yourself?
To prepare myself, well, to start with, of course, at age 18, I dreamt of the summer of 97 with my friends before they all went to university, and I was soon brought back to earth. So I started around July 97 on the shop floor, cleaning out transformer tanks. I did continue education, but I did a day release course at Leeds Met. So whilst I was working, it was one day in the week, 9 till 9, a very long day, which gave me an HNC in electrical and electronic engineering. And then from there, I did a BTEC in business and finance to really develop the whole understanding in all aspects of business, from refurbishing transformers and switchgear, manufacturing battery chargers, and also being on site as an apprentice. But in the background, gaining those qualifications, to learn about accounting and those other principles of work.
So you made sure that you understood not only about what makes a business successful, but also the technical side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a full grounding of the business. Really, the idea was never to waltz straight into the office. It was always to start on the tools, which I did do, yeah.
So that's why you started off cleaning transformer tanks and starting at the bottom and working your way up.
Yeah.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the highs as well as the lows of leading Wilson Power Solutions.
Yes. For me, seeing the changes in the business over the last 2 years have been some of the major highs for me. From in-house product development to the overall infrastructure of the business. And also, for me, seeing the actual, perhaps how much more potential there is within the business still. The team we have currently are passionate about the company, which makes me really proud of what we're doing. And I know personally I'm in a difficult but very privileged position with a family business. And the business is a medium-sized company, it's not too big. So my cousin and I are able to make decisions quite quickly and implement new ideas perhaps more quickly than those larger businesses, maybe larger PLCs. Lows of leading a business have to be, for me as a mother of two children, very young children, and I do work full time, it's the work-life balance really. I always say it's a shame we can't all have children when we retire, because you can spend time with your career and then time, of course, with your children when you retire. So it would be better and life would be simpler if my work-life balance was a little better.
Right. And a lot of people talk about the difficulties of specifically leading a family company, because you get in the situation where, because it's a family company, you're so much more strongly bonded to it, you're so much more passionate about it, you really want it to succeed. On the other hand, you have to work with your family members, which could cause tensions and disagreements, not only with the business, but in family life as well, which normally people can just, let's say, leave the work problems at work and keep that separate from family, but it must be difficult for that. So there must be positives and negatives to working in a family company as well.
Yeah, I would say for me, definitely an advantage running a family company. From the beginning, it was very hard. Being in the family business and having the stigma attached to being the boss's daughter. It was only when really my father, Colin, and my uncle, Dennis, retired, which was now over 5 years ago, that Simon and I grew into our new roles quite comfortably. But if I'd have known then what I know now, I perhaps wouldn't have let anything bother me at the time. Knowing how other family-run businesses are, I do feel fortunate because our parents left the business, letting us take the reins. So they sort of said, we're here, we're there for advice when you need it, but we will not continue coming into work. So that really helped. I know other people find themselves in a situation where perhaps they're not left to run the business as they want to. And if they've got plans for the future and maybe modern ideas, they're stifled by perhaps the elder generations within that continue to stay in the business. And I think that probably creates a very difficult atmosphere for them. But luckily for me, we haven't had that. We haven't had family disputes, and we're all equal as far as where decisions are to be made, and we're left to do that. I think my passion for the business puts me under personal pressure to deliver. Now the company's 68 years old, so my grandfather started it, and we all know the saying about businesses run by children in the third generation. Basically, they're the ones that mess it up. I'm very aware of that. So touch wood, we're very successful at the moment, and we continue to just keep that in our minds and strive to succeed, really.
Do you think it makes you less willing to take risks because you'd be risking the family company?
I don't think so, no. The risk aspect has always been there with my father and my uncle. You need to take risk in order to grow. So I've learnt that from an early age in any case, so it doesn't particularly bother me. But Simon and myself both work together. One will pull the other one back or rein the other one in if we need to, which is very useful, being the team that we are together.
To move on to something else now, there aren't many women in the electrical engineering industry. I mean, not many visible women, let's say, so not in leadership roles, high-profile roles. Why do you think this is?
Firstly, it's proven that mixed gender teams outperform single gender teams in business, which I understand, which is fantastic, because what I've done over the last decade, well, I say I've done, I haven't, it's just happened that way. The last decade, our ratio of women to men in the business has actually increased. We never used to have any women within our company. Now 20% of the workforce are women. But saying that, the roles are varied across the women that work within the company. We haven't had any females on the shop floor apart from myself, and in the whole time that we've been in business. But the women we do have actually found their way into the industry through family connections. So, which was really interesting for me. I mean, that's across the board, men and women. But I think you tend to find that your parents inspire you to follow, perhaps in their successful footsteps. And generally, 90% of engineering roles are held by men, but 90% of midwifery positions are held by women. I mean, I see reports on equality issues when you're introducing women into what they say are so-called the male-dominated industry, but you don't often see it in return of men joining the predominantly industries with women. So if we discuss leadership roles, generally people will work their way up the ladder. So there won't typically be many leadership roles held by women in engineering. It's a difficult one. I don't know why. It could maybe well start from school and the interest there.
Yes, I suppose if you have a parent who is in that industry, then they could see it as a possible career choice for their daughter. But if you have two parents who are not involved and they don't understand this kind of thing, they might not encourage their child to go towards that because they might think, oh, that's not for girls, that's just for boys. They might have this misunderstanding of what it's like. So perhaps that family connection, as you mentioned, is important in encouraging women, but also educating the wider public as to, about how women can also do STEM jobs, so the scientific and technological jobs. What do you think is necessary in order to get more women into leadership roles, into technical roles in the industry?
Well, I'm not a feminist of any description, I must say, and I'm always unsure why this question is asked to women in a male-dominated industry, but sometimes I do question, as we've discussed, whether it all starts in education. If I'm honest with myself, I was inspired by my teacher who taught me chemistry, but I wasn't inspired by my other teachers who taught me the other sciences. And as far as showing students career paths in life, perhaps there should be some sort of module where women or men in industry come in and talk to students about their own experiences, which allows students to see if it's perhaps myself in engineering or a gentleman in midwifery coming in to speak to these younger students and explaining what they do, because other than the teachers around them, students will only see, as we've discussed, what their own parents do. So we need to sort of broaden from a younger age, broaden that variety that children and older students can see what's available out there, and maybe they have then their own interest and they pick up their own interest away from their parents perhaps.
What advice would you give to any women who are currently already considering entering any kind of engineering industry, and then specifically power engineering?
I think specifically for me, experience on the shop floor was fantastic. It was invaluable. I was on the shop floor for 3 years, and it really gave me a good insight into the next stages of my career, which was obviously quoting jobs, going out on site, looking at typical transformer layouts. So being on the shop floor in front of the equipment is really important. And actually we're currently showing members of staff in our business that haven't had shop floor experience the workings of transformers, taking them onto the shop floor and broadening their own knowledge in that regard. But I think generally, if you're confident in your own ability in any profession and you're determined, you'll succeed without a doubt.
Okay. And now, what does the future for Wilson Power Solutions look like at the moment?
We've been in business many, many years, and of course there are stages of growth and change. For me, the challenge is moving from a very small, close-knit group of colleagues where we've always held many roles to really a more structured business with clear direction and gradual sustainable growth. The most important thing for me really is to remember where we've come from and what we stand for. So what we do is we're looking to provide solutions for our customers that suit them. So we're not here to push products. We aim to put the customer's best interest at heart, really. And really that's why we continue to build very successful long-term relationships with our customers. So for us, there are the opportunities, really, I think.
Okay, and the challenges at the current time for Wilson Power Solutions?
Challenges, I think, is keeping up with the market, keeping up with the marketplace, having a look what the customer actually needs. So you have a portfolio of products, you perhaps don't keep it the same. Obviously, you've seen over 68 years we've changed product portfolios. We've gone from refurbished equipment to new equipment. We've got higher fleets of transformers. So opening up your market and ensuring that your product profile remains current to the market needs, I think.
Okay, and finally, as every good interview should have, is there anything which I haven't spoken about which you'd like to tell everyone who's watching the video?
You're obviously very good now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, maybe you could tell us about one of your star products that you would like everyone to pay attention to.
Well, it has to be the Wilson E2 because when I was just talking about trying to change your product portfolio to suit the needs of the customer, this was where we saw the market opportunity for the Wilson E2. And as a product, as a transformer, it has the lowest combined losses of any transformer in the UK. And so what it essentially, what it allows the customer to do is really save energy, which is the remit of every company I know at the moment, is save energy on the transformer losses within the unit. But then also maybe if voltage management is something that customers are looking at, it also addresses voltage management issues as well. So we've had customers saving sort of from installing the Wilson E2 between 6.8% and 12% of their energy bill. So it's as easy as that, really. And the actual paybacks for the installation of these products, it can be less than 12 months. So it's definitely worth looking into.
Okay, well, Erika Wilson of Wilson Power Solutions, thank you very much for joining us here on Power Transformer News.
Thank you. Thanks very much.